Hey man, what's going on? This my different politics. Subscribe, like button. Like I say, man, I just like espousing the thoughts, man. So if you tune in and just do a little bit of that, I appreciate it. So today, man, what I wanted to go over was the Emily Sinodi um article she writes. She's a writer for the Daily Wire, and I came across this article just randomly just going through news feeds and stuff like that, and it popped up on me. And basically, what it went to in detail about was the Bernie Sanders voter was a low information voter. That was the gist of the column. Now it didn't go into how she drew them conclusions that she basically had piggybacked her article on the back of a Monmouth poll that came out. In whichever case, I don't know how they extrapolated their data out and how they came out to that conclusion, but I guess it was a conclusion that they draw. I know Chuck Todd talked about it on Meet the Press Sunday. I know Yamisha Sender had followed up on it, but yeah, man, you know, this article had just really hit me, man. Just hit me, just in such because it was something that had been going over for a while and things of like that. And she even alluded to in the article that these voters see themselves as the most talented and highly educated and most progressive, and you know, and all of these things like that. So how could they? So them in themselves could not be a low information voter, or at least that's what they would assume. And she had alluded to maybe some of the things off Twitter that was being said, and she even seemed herself to be taken aback by some of the language that I see commonly. Right, I see a lot of this anti-establishment, anti, Biden, or anti DCC or anti DNC. I see a lot of that when I'm online, because I'm a very voracious consumer of all news. I watch a lot of the progressive channels on YouTube, and I still consume a lot of the mainstream media. When I can. Between this and like me trying to kind of get this thing kind of rolling and work. Right now I don't have as much time as I would like to um, consume all the news and read all the articles and stuff I want to, but I still put in a concerted amount of hours each week following it. But anyways, like I say, man, the Emily Zanotti article, like I said, it was really good, and she didn't allude to that. She just piggybacked off the Monmouth poll and everything else like that. But this is my conclusion on how the Bernie Sanders voter has became the low information voter. And I say that because yes, this is the 18 to 35 year year old age range. And so in their college educated, in their post secondary degree, you know, post high school, post college, these are very highly educated individuals. But with that being said, with progressivism still on the outside of mainstream politics, or at least there's their new type of progressivism in this kind of this alignment with socialism in some ways. And that's why it's out on the margins. And when you get out on the margins, they run to, like I say, there's not a lot of progressive outlets on TV. So YouTube is sort of where you go as a progressive to sort of be with people like you. And so you be on the David Doles, you be on the Jimmy Dores, you be on the Kim Iversons, you be on the Young Turks. Those are the outlets that are in other outlets that that people who are progressives. That's what that's the channels and the news that they choose to indulge in. And with that, this is how I believe they became a low information voter. These are the only places that they go, right? And it's just like with mainstream media. If something breaks, news happens, and other channels pick up on it. But it's just like that in the progressive world, or on YouTube, where maybe an anti, well, not anti Sanders, but just something critical of Bernie Sanders breaks, right? Well, all these articles put their little spin on it. Well, all these channels, I'm sorry, all these channels will put their little spin on it, and whichever the case they meet, and they disseminate it, and it's news. And within that, you have this progressive bubble of just this sort of news going around, right? You don't that you would believe, because they do have the resources, that they would try to get outside of this sort of progressive bubble and entertain other thoughts and be more in tune with what's going on in the political landscape, but they don't, because they're now they don't after 2016, they don't trust. I believe that a lot of progressives don't trust the mainstream media. They don't trust the DCCC. They don't trust the DNC. They don't trust anything that's sort of this sort of establishment, right? They don't. I don't believe a lot of the large parts of the progressive wing. They don't. They don't believe what's going on the surface, right? What I encounter a lot on YouTube is a lot of basically conspiracy theories. Even Miss Emily Zanotti seemed to be taken aback by it, right? She was just like, that they're calling them corporatist, and that they're saying that basically that was an ad for a Joe Biden campaign and everyone is in the pocket. And she seemed to be taken aback about it. But this is stuff that I encounter every single day. Every single day I look at these progressive channels, I see this in the thing. And it's such a anti-establishment fervor that I believe that it's dangerous. I believe that it's such an anti-establishment fervor out there, and such an anti-Biden and anti-Warren and anti-just Democrat anyway, that it could be co-opted, right? I believe that there's actors masquerading as progressives, but they're really here for a disinformation and dissension campaign. I really believe that. And I believe that this section has been targeted because of that fervor, because of their sort of their unity, and because they're excited, they're young excited electorate, and they if they were to take the full force of what they have as Sanders supporters and point it at something, it's powerful, or point it away from something, it's powerful. And so that's why I believe that they're trying to co-opt that wing of the Democratic Party, or however they would like to label themselves, in order to create this atmosphere where no candidate on the Democratic ticket is acceptable. No candidate outside of Bernie. Even though, if you're a strategist or you're an analyst, you can see how hard it is for Bernie Sanders to win a Democratic primary. You look across the landscape, you see his ideas of now being, he didn't have no patent number on those. Free college, and free health care, and taxing the 1%. They didn't have patents on it. Those ideas have now been stolen, in a sense. They're being stolen to be watered down. And progressives are right about that. They're just stealing this stuff to sort of water it down and say, oh, and pat progressives on the back and say, oh, look, don't you look at this, free community college. But don't let me sound like I'm in support of this. I'm just sort of reporting what I believe is out there. And also that this wing is able to be co-opted, because this is where the fervor last time, sorry about that. I'm keep going with that. The anti-Hillary, campaign, and these things of this sort, this all came from this wing of like I say, of the Democratic Party. So they're ripe for that again. They're ripe to be co-opted to go against the Democratic Party in a large number, knowing, and then it even sets itself up as a more conspiratorial this time when they say, well, he was second in the polls and whatever the case may be. There's no way he could have lost. Yes, way he could have lost. Yes, way. He didn't win bedroom communities outside of these suburbs, which a lot of, yes, young, highly educated liberals, but yes, with a lot of center right 40-year-olds also. I believe that he cannot win large swaths of the African American community. It's simply, I just don't believe that. I just don't believe. I can't give a concise analysis because there is a part of African American community that love Bernie Sanders, but it's a part of the African American community that doesn't care for any other policies that he espoused. So I can't speak for the whole African American community, but I can tell you this: as an African American, I don't like I've said in the previous video, I don't see that excitement for Senator Sanders. I just don't. But the article was really interesting because, like I said, these voters, these people, the voters that you lean on to sort of be in the know on politics, that you sort of know that you want to be the most informed because you want them to be able to make a educated opinion at the ballot box. You want them to be making the best decisions. But within what we see is we seeing that that's not able to be made because of this bubble that they put themselves in. And it's so much conspiracy theory, like, that they believe is just fact. It's a fact that mainstream media is against Bernie. It's a fact that mainstream media wants Joe Biden to win. It's a fact. And they say these things. And the same thing, and I believe that a part of it has been co-opted by a Russian disinformation campaign. I believe a segment of it has. I believe a segment of them are just never going to vote for anybody but Senator Sanders. If Senator Sanders doesn't get the nomination, they've been robbed. And that's why I would say be vigilant and check these sources and things that you're receiving this information from about Senator Sanders or about any candidate. Because how could the best and brightest that America's put forth be called a low information voter? I thought myself, and I'm sure that progressive out there who was offended by that article thought that was something reserved only for the Fox News voter, the consumer of Fox News, that there was only a Fox News bubble. But apparently there's not, according to Monmouth and according to Emily Zanotti, that the progressive in this country is a low information voter. And it shouldn't be that way. Be vigilant. Do not be Bernie or bust. That's just not smart. And I don't believe it's getting you anywhere. I believe that there's a lot of factors that played into Hillary Clinton not getting a nomination. Losing progressives, I just don't believe was one of them. Now, I mean, if you want to exercise that again, great. But the House wasn't one on a progressive wave. In my opinion, it was one on a center wave. And when I say that, I said it right. I said, because I don't believe it was a center right, because I don't believe that's where the country is anymore for most parts. I didn't say center left because a lot of the policies that the left espouse aren't on the platforms that a lot of these candidates rose to stardom on. So for the main part, this is still a center country. And if Bernie's ideas aren't ready to be at the forefront of American policy, that's okay. Bernie has shifted the conversation. We're there. That's why a lot of these ideas have already been stolen, because they were popular. And then they're going to be watered down, and you might get some free community college here and there, and you might get, a better public, I don't know if you're going to get a public option, but you might get a better form of what Obamacare was supposed to be. So, and with that being said, that is, again, I'm like I said, I'm gonna try to come every single day with some content about politics because I love it and I'm consuming it so much. I got a Twitter at Real Cam Rob. One, check that out. You know, like I said, I ain't on there really hunting nobody down, man. I just on there just espousing political thought, man. So I really appreciate you if you really tuned in, man. I really, really do. Like I said, I'm trying to make this a constant thing, man. I love talking about politics. If you love my view, just hit me in the comment. If you want to do a back-to-back, a conversation, just have a debate, even on here, man, even on my channel. I don't care. Like I say, I don't really got nothing too much going on it, to the point where I wouldn't offer that and put that out there. Anybody. I don't care who wants to debate. I don't care what you want to debate about. I don't care if you're Newt Gingrich, who is a very smart man, or you're, just a guy who cares about politics too, and you just want to rant and rave with me. It's all right, man. Real Cam Rob 1 is the Twitter. This is the channel. So I love everybody, man. So love me back. It is what it is, man. Real different politics, man. Thank y'all, brothers.